we don't always need the story. We don't always need the play-by-play, the whole blueprint, the bullet points. We don't need all the details of what has happened in our life. Hello my pretties, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ren and I help women use self-love to attract their desires galore, dripping in passion, love, and fulfillment. And the beauty in that is that it can blanket over all areas of your life. So today we're talking about childhood wounds and how healing them can strengthen your experiences within life. Let's talk about it. What are childhood wounds? Anxiety might hit your body in certain ways. A lot of these things are stemming from your childhood wounds, ways that you've learned how to cope with things, how to react to fearful situations, anxiety-driven situations, times when your needs weren't met. There's a whole slew of things that can cover where childhood wounds come from and why we experience them the way that we do in our life. The good thing though is that even though we may have suffered from a childhood wound or trauma, that's not the end all be all. We can always learn to cope and to deal with things in a much more healthy manner. We live our stories. How we choose to live moving forward is entirely up to us. And sometimes that does include rewriting your story. The mind and the reality of things is one and the same. Our mind doesn't necessarily know that this was a real situation or if it was a imagined situation. So that's the beauty in what I mean as far as we can rewrite our story, but we'll get more into that later. Right now we're just talking about the basis of healing our childhood traumas and our childhood wounds, because we all deserve that compassion. We all deserve that that freedom that it can bring within our relationships, within ourselves, within our experiences. So let's hop into the details. Some ways that childhood wounds can show up in our lives can be within our relationships, beyond just our romantic relationships, even within our friendships. We can have these different wounds show up. A lot of times we inadvertently repel relationships when we find things to be triggering. We can self-sabotage. There's a lot of different factors that kind of that come into play when it comes to our childhood wounds and how we're responding or why we're responding the way that we do. That's something I'm going to help you work on, because that's something that I've had to deal with in my experience. And being that I have the experience on healing, working through childhood traumas, and honestly, in the midst of working through traumas right now, I can definitely attest to the healing powers, how much healing can truly help change and transform our lives in so many ways, so many ways. Healing wounds is essential for improving our overall life experience. Wouldn't it be just nice that we can go through life on our day-to-day basis and not really have to be reacting out of survival, out of fear, out of anxiety, out of feeling lack, just because we have healed those parts of us? I genuinely believe that when we take the time to heal, that we are freeing ourselves from the burdens of our past. Some of the burdens that we didn't even create for ourselves or even experience ourselves, some of them are passed throughout the generations and through the womb and through the birthing experience. So wouldn't it just be nice to just let go of those things so that all that's behind us is in the past, and then we can just create a new experience that's far more aligned with what exactly it is that we want out of life, instead of letting the things hold us back from our childhood, from our past, from experiences that honestly we probably can't even remember. Like, that's the crazy part about it. A lot of these experiences, we have no clue where they even stemmed from, but our body has remembered the occurrence, and our body reacts. And a lot of times we go into survival mode or into these different phases of trying to keep ourselves safe because of these traumas that's happened in our lives as children or as in our past. Even as young adults, traumas can happen at any point in time, but our body remembers, and it sometimes takes these things in and just oftentimes repels the things that we want, the things that we desire, because we were supposed to have these situations and learn from them and grow from them. And it's not to be insensitive to the traumas that we deal with, because believe me, I've gone through them all, from SA to the other one that's far more intense than that. There's so many different things that we all experience or may have experienced. And I hope that, you guys don't, but just being realistic, every woman I know has dealt with one or two or both of those things in their lives. So not to be insensitive, but there's growth in that. And even if it doesn't seem like it and it doesn't feel like it, there's something to overcome within that, and finding your worth, finding your value, your worthiness, all of that stuff. So be kind to yourself in the midst of all of this, because it's important to not re-traumatize yourself. That's probably the biggest part of all of this, is not re-traumatizing yourself, because the thing is that whatever it is that we've gone through, we did get through technically, yes. But as far as our body, our mind, our spirits, sometimes we still hold on to these things. And so in letting them go, we don't always need the story. We don't always need the play-by-play, the whole blueprint, the bullet points. We don't need all the details of what has happened in our lives. Now, if we know them and remember them, I mean, it is what it is, but we don't need it in order to heal from it. As I mentioned earlier, we can rewrite our past, and it's honestly simply as simple as just having an imagination. We can relive these situations and tell the story exactly how we would have preferred it to play out. And with enough of that repetition, our mind doesn't know the difference. And the more we tell ourselves the new story, the smaller the old story gets. And so at a point, our psyche starts to understand that, oh, well, this is actually what happened, despite what reality says, or despite what the 3D has mentioned. The story that I believe and that I've told myself after all of this repetition is that didn't happen in that way. What happened was my daddy came through and he saved me, or my mom came through and she saved me. My caregiver came through and they wreaked havoc on the place, And so in that moment, I felt safe. I felt protected. I knew that there were people that loved and supported me. And I know that I would never have to be in that position again with that person, because I had my protector on my side. I had my friend, my family. These things, all these different steps came in and kept me safe. And so I now trust myself, and I can trust the people that were there to care for me. And I can trust that life is so much better now. What I'd like to discuss is, how do our wounds show up when they are unhealed? That's something that I can definitely speak to, because right now life is spinning, it's spinning me around. So I realized that there were things that I needed to go back and heal. Even though I thought I already healed them, these are different elements of things that I needed to work on that I guess coincidentally bypassed amongst my initial self-love journey, the beginnings and all of that. I can tell that I'm operating in an unhealed manner right now is because I know there's a brick wall behind me, but I've literally been building bricks, and I've been putting up a wall around me. And one, it doesn't truly help anything. Basically, excluding myself from life doesn't stop life from happening. Life is still gonna go on. Time is still passing us by. And me putting this wall around myself is not actual protection. It's avoidance. It is I'm not going to call it a cop-out, because my psyche's doing what it feels is best to keep me safe right now. And for some reason, what I deem as being safe is secluding myself. But when you have a family, you have children, you have a husband, secluding yourself it doesn't hit the same when you have people relying on you, and people that are in your life that need you, that trust you, that expect you to show up for them. Like these kids, they don't care what I'm going through. And that's nothing against them. That's the life of a child. They don't have the burden of adulthood. They don't have the burden of life right now. Like they're just living freely, enjoying themselves. They play, they eat, I just take care of them. There are people in your life that need you and rely on you for support, for guidance, for all of these different things, just to even be a mom sometimes. And so for me, I see that I'm building up a wall, and it's not helping me. And if anything, it's doing me a disservice, because what I deem as protecting myself, I'm really just giving myself a soggy experience, basically. And it's like someone's here trying to love on you, and someone's here trying to, show you how great life is. Your kids are here, like, oh, mommy, you're home. Like, just there's so much love to give, and it's like you're building this wall, and it's just like repel, and it's not fair. It's not fair to your children. It's not fair to your husband or your partner, and it's mostly not fair to yourself, because for one, you deserve that love. You deserve that love fully and authentically as it's being given to you, especially by your children. Like there's no love like that of your child, and especially if you have a little boy, you fully know what I'm talking about. I have 2 sons. Actually, I have 4 kids. They're all 4 and under. I have a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 9-month-old. He'll be 10 months coming up soon. But my son, he's the 3-year-old. This boy loves his mama. And it's just a certain love that children give you that is literally uncomparable. And it's not fair that they can be giving you so much love and you're so wrapped up in yourself and the things that you have going on that even though you're not purposefully repelling their love, but you're not receiving it in the way that they're giving it. And unfortunately, it's almost all the same. Whereas it has that same effect where it's like, I hope that they don't feel that, oh, mommy has a wall up, because I try to accept that love anyway and try to give all the hugs and the fun and all the laughs and things. And, just put on that face that mothers have to do. But I want to be able for them to give that love. And I just fully open-heartedly receive it just as much as they're giving it. And I feel like mothers will know what I'm referring to, especially if you've had a time that you've been like down or something like that. I think mothers can attest to this. And it's like you always try to be the best mom that you can be, but sometimes you have your own stuff going on and your kids don't understand that, and that's not their fault and it's not your fault either. But at the same time, I just want to be able to open myself up and allow love in. Whereas right now, I feel like I've put a block around myself. Like I've put a whole force field around me. And my children, they can penetrate it. My family, they penetrate this wall. But at the same time, it doesn't feel to me how they're giving it out. And so that's how I can tell that there's a disconnect with what I'm dealing with right now, because I feel like the traumas from my childhood, it's like once the trigger happened, it's like, oh, protection mode, protection mode, protection mode. And I just put this box up where it's not really helping me. It's just kind of making me like a leaf in the wind, and I'm here and I'm present. But at the same time, there's so much that I'm missing and keeping myself back from experiencing just because I want to be in this box. But this box is, for one, not important. For two, it's not even real. For three, what good is it doing me? It's not doing me any good at all. It's not doing my family any good. And I'm glad that they're young enough that they don't necessarily know that I'm in a box right now. Like I definitely don't want them feeling whatever it is that I'm going through. At the same time, I just see that defense mode is coming up. And so when I am in survival mode because, traumas have hit, what I'm doing is I'm navigating myself back to thriving instead of surviving. When you're dealing with childhood traumas and wounds and things like that, we're just surviving, and we're just making it day to day, doing what we have to do and trying to be decent about it. And what's the fun in that? Life is long, but life is way too short to be living it in a way that you are operating in a shell, operating less than, and operating just out of pure fear. It doesn't help anything, and it sucks because all these things are so much easier said than done. But the first thing that you have to do is accept and acknowledge that a change needs to be made, and to start working towards that change. And I'll give you some practical steps that I've done we can tap into, and we'll walk through that a little bit later. But it's completely possible because I've done it before. So there's that. I've done this before, and life is just life and again. And so sometimes we have to heal as many times as we need to. Healing never ends. And it's not that life has to suck for healing to happen, but a lot of times we become so complacent because things are so great. Why would I be focusing on doing inner work right now? And I was before, but I guess I wasn't expecting life to hit like this. And so now it's like I have to hanker in even more on that inner work that I've been doing. So we'll talk about it. So we've talked about signs of childhood wounds and things like that. So what are the benefits of healing them? So there are so many benefits to healing childhood wounds, especially when you approach it in a way that's full of love for yourself and give yourself grace and compassion to the life that you have and the life that you have lived. Better relationships, and that's beyond romantically, your friendships, your family, all of these things, even just interactions with strangers, all of these relationships will be so much more improved because you're not operating out of fear and out of scarcity and lack and all of these things. And, there's so many different ways that healing our wounds can impact our lives in the most beautiful ways. Something that has helped me specifically, and I feel like I might have mentioned this before, not sure, but I thought I couldn't have kids. And so since I thought I could not have kids, I just kind of accepted that I was going to be the fly auntie that traveled. And life had happened, and I ended up having to do a bunch of inner work. And could you believe that that opened my womb? Like, I was in a relationship for nearly 10 years, and I was like, why haven't we had a kid yet? Like, what's going on? And it's just like, it just was not happening. It just was not happening. And it's not even that I had put a bunch of resistance up against it. It was just like, it's just something that so happened to not happen. And but I knew that was a toxic relationship, so it's a blessing that it didn't. We weren't even married, so why I wanted that is beyond me. But nevertheless, that was also me operating out of trauma, because I just wanted to be with somebody. I guess I just didn't want to be alone. But yeah, we didn't have kids or anything like that. And once I started doing my inner work, my womb opened right up, and I literally just been popping out babies ever since. And like, it's so funny because it's like, it's something that I didn't expect to come from doing inner work. And when I was doing my inner work, I just wanted to feel better. Like, I didn't have any real intentions like, oh, I want to be a 6-figure earner every month, or, it wasn't anything like that. It was really just, I just want to feel better. I just want to be in a better place with myself, with life, and just kind of be full of love for me. And yeah, it ended up opening up my womb entirely. And it's like such a beautiful feeling to become a mother, especially when you didn't think that you could have kids at all. That's my favorite part of the healing that I've done, is that I've opened myself up to be a mother. And for some reason, what I thought that if I didn't have kids, that it would have been like mission failed. I don't know. I've always felt that way for some reason, even as a child. And so it's just like, it was really disappointing. But then when I came to terms with life, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to just heal. I'm going to just work on myself. I'm good on men. I'm good on dating. I'm good on relationships. And then that's when everything opened up. So healing can really do some huge things in your life. Like, it's been weight loss. It's been so many different things that I could just go down a whole list. And over time, I'll definitely share these things with you guys on what I've done to heal, how these things have helped my life and improved my whole well-being. Like, it's amazing, like truly, truly amazing. And I want this for everybody because we all deserve it. A lot of times when we're in our trauma responses from our inner childhood wounds, we go into protection mode. And a lot of times when we're in protection mode, we're storing things in our bodies. And that can manifest as weight gain, skin issues, infertility, brain fog. There's all kinds of things, depression. There's so many different things that these wounds come through and impact our lives. And a lot of times we'll just try to go to the doctor and throw a pill at it, or go to some sort of external factor and say, hey, this is what's wrong with me, fix it. Whereas there's nothing that can fix it. A lot of times we try all these products and we try all these pills and all of these different things and literally get nowhere with it. But it's because the issue isn't in the form of a pill. It's not in the form, it's nothing that a doctor can prescribe you. The issue is within our inner being. And it's not even that I shouldn't call it an issue, but what we need to work on is internal. What's that song Beyonce had? Pretty hurts. Shine light on whatever's worse. Perfection is a disease of a nation. Pretty hurts. Shine your light on whatever's worse. Try to fix something, but you can't fix what you can't see. It's the soul that needs the surgery. But really, it's the soul that needs the surgery. And so that's the thing that's the hidden piece that we need so deeply when it comes to our whole life cycle, like everything. So from healing to self-love to all of these things, it's our soul that needs the attention. It's not anything that's manifesting on our bodies, within our bodies, is a reflection of something our soul is needing. There's a book by a lady, her name is Louise Hay. And so this book, it kind of goes through different ailments that we could go through that manifest in our bodies, our systems, whatever. And it goes through and tells you exactly what the underlying issue is. So of course, once I got this book, I went through everything that I felt like I've ever had in my life. So the first thing that stood out to me was asthma. And I remember when I was little, I had asthma. I've had asthma for as long as I can remember. However, I do remember being diagnosed with it when I was very, very young. And so the ailments are in alphabetical order, mind you. I looked up asthma, and I'm pretty much just, this isn't word for word, but the basis of it was that basically being smothered, being feeling like you can't breathe, basically being overly parented or something like that. I don't remember what it was exactly, but when I read it, I was just like, if this isn't accurate, I don't know what it is. And then it gives you affirmations to combat it. So I pretty much went through everything that I've dealt with, whether it's like weight, like I said, asthma, what else was on there? Skin issues. It's just a whole list of things that that our bodies go through that we don't even realize how much deeper it is. Like, we always think of the surface of it, like, oh, I've gained weight just because I just be eating a lot. And it's like, yeah, you might be eating a lot, but why are you eating a lot? I'm eating a lot because I like to eat. Well, why do you like to eat? Because it tastes good. Is it really because it tastes good? No. You're eating a lot because it's comforting. That's what you use to save, like, that's what you use to cope. When you were younger, you turned to snacks when you were feeling fearful, when you were full of anxiety, when you felt like you had your needs being unmet. You turned to food because food was always there. That's the issue. That's where the weight gain comes from. It's not because, well, it is also because you're eating, but at the same time, getting to the bottom of why you're eating or why you're eating what you're eating is the key to it. It's that inner, keep breaking it down. It's like an onion. And so you keep peeling back these layers and peeling back these layers. And then you finally find, okay, this is what I was looking for. And then that's when you know what to heal and how to begin healing it. It starts from there. Other ways that traumas might show up in your life beyond relationship, weight, body. There's drug use, promiscuity, drinking, toxic relationship. We fall into these situations without necessarily seeing the connection. So for example, toxic relationships. I didn't realize I was even in a toxic relationship. But secondly, even though all the flags was flagging and them bad boys was red, they was like in flames of red, I still said, let's go. Let's get it. I didn't see the issues. I didn't see the red flags for what they were. And I definitely didn't see them as green flags. Like, it's not like I just turned them pink or fuchsia or any of these things. Like, they were definitely red, but my trauma spoke much louder than the red flags did. I can't say if it stemmed from abandonment issues. It could have been from feeling the lack of love, fear of rejection. Just low self-esteem in general is kind of what my previous relationship pretty much showed me, is that there's a lot that you are lacking and you don't even care enough to do anything about it. I just put on a pretty bow and I just kind of kept moving with things, and it just kept getting worse and kept getting worse, and I just kept holding on like, I love him. I just was in a trauma bond. That's all it was. I loved him for what I thought love was at the time. I'll say that. But looking at my actions, I didn't. And I mean, he didn't love me either. And I'm not saying that's an excuse to be, how I was in the relationship, but it was just a toxic situation met by more toxicity, and we couldn't do anything for each other. There was nothing we could have done for each other for the places that we were in. We were just an energetic match. So while it took that time to heal, I basically was able to get on the other side of self-sabotage, at least for what I was going through. I was able to get on the other side of things like self-sabotage, putting myself down, negative self-talk, negative actions, or actions I won't want my daughters to be a part of, type of thing. So our emotional well-being is far more important. And so healing our inner childhood traumas and things like that, it's one of the best things we can do for ourselves, because a lot of times it's the foundation of inner work, where a lot of times we can achieve something, but we won't necessarily be able to keep it because the foundation is rocky. And so we'll rise up and then we'll fall. We'll rise up, we'll fall. We'll rise up, we'll fall. And I mean, granted, we're failing forward, but at the same time, wouldn't it be much better to heal it and just have a gradual beep boop beep boop beep boop beep up? Yeah, like, I think that when we fix the foundation, everything else just becomes far more robust, and we will have an easier time holding on to what we're doing and what we're creating and what we're desiring when the core of the situation is met with love. So we can work on that. Other ways that inner childhood wounds and traumas show up beyond the things that I've already mentioned, it can show up in the form of people pleasing, self-sabotage, fear of intimacy. We could really lock our whole womb space down sometimes, where it's just like, it don't work, it don't flow, it's locked up sometimes. And so all the things that are within us that we've been holding on to, sometimes since childhood, the best thing we can do is let it go so that flow can continue and just take over and be a walking ocean. I want to chime in on how we can identify childhood wounds and traumas. And something that's really specific and obvious for me now is that I had lost a lot of weight, like a lot of weight. And so I used to be well over 300 pounds. And so I had lost like 40 pounds and then I lost like another 100 pounds. And even though I lost all this weight, my body still looked the same. And it's just like, how do you lose this amount of weight and out of clothes, you look exactly the same? So it's just like, my stomach was still the same, like my arms, all these things were still the same on my body. That's when I realized, like, this is an energetic thing. So what inside of me still needs to heal, because you can't go through that type of weight transformation and still look the same. So what's the problem? So I had to become very self-aware, notice the patterns, the behaviors, all the things that I was doing, especially in times of chaos or trauma or triggers. How was I reacting to them? What types of things was I doing in life? How was I coping with these? I had a whole spell where the devil's lettuce was my best friend. And in my head, I was just thinking, oh, I just like to do it. Meanwhile, it was just a coping mechanism. It was me trying to escape, me escaping everything. And so paying attention and being self-aware to all of your habits, those will be the indicators. I have quite the success story based off of the traumas that I've gone through and the things that I've healed past. And now it's like I was able to find the love of my life. I was able to become a mother. I was able to start building the best body I have ever had. Besides the inner benefits, the outer benefits are just as important. And a lot of times when we celebrate these wins, we get to see in all the different little ways or grand ways that the impacts of healing shows up in our lives. And so I'm so very grateful that I was backed into a wall and forced to heal, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have the lifestyle that I have now. I probably wouldn't be in the situation that I was in, to be able to be an energetic match to my husband, to be able to become a mother, to be able to, you know, have a wonderful body that I absolutely love. So there's benefit. The good thing is that it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And so when we kind of approach healing like that, it's a lot more enjoyable, because it can be hard, but at the same time, not everything in life is meant to be easy. There are things that are sent here to teach us lessons, and we will learn them one way or another, and life is going to keep bringing them to you until you do. And then also life will sometimes keep testing you to make sure that you've learned it. Be aware of how you move, how you act, and how you show up in the world. So some things that I did to really take my healing up a notch and kick it off would be journaling. That's something that I've been doing for years now. I just started back. Well, I can't say just started back, but I'm like a year in again, a year and like 40 some days. And yes, I counted. But I journal, I meditate, I participate in self-care. I do a lot of shadow work, a lot of reflection. I'm always questioning myself, not in a form of doubt, but I'm questioning myself, not in a form of doubt, but I'm questioning myself to see where I'm approaching things from. So basically it's like shadow work in real time. So if I'm going through something, or if I realize that I'm reacting and maybe I'm being a little bit cold-hearted, or maybe I'm being a people pleaser and I'm starting to get an attitude and things like that, I start to ask myself, why are you people pleasing right now? What is the desire that you actually want? What do you want to get from this situation? Do you not want to do this right now? If you don't want to do it, why are you afraid to say no? What exactly is it that's keeping you from following your heart, following your desires, and really listening and waiting, and really listening and being in tune with the answers that I get from that? And so when you take all of the moments throughout your day and all of the actions that you're doing, it's not to say just stay in your head all day, but at the same time, we're in our heads most of the time anyway. If you talk more than you are in your head, like if you physically talk more, I mean, maybe you're just a chatterbox, I don't know. But me, I'm in my head like 90% of the time in comparison to how much I actually have to talk in real life. And so while I'm in my head, I self-reflect and say, how could I have done this better? What could I have done there? Next time if this situation happens, how do I comfortably say no? How do I not worry about the reaction of others? What exactly do I need to give myself in order to give myself the permission to say no? What exactly do I need to do to make sure that I'm preserving myself here? So that's something that I find to be very, very helpful. And I definitely suggest that you try that. At the very least, just start there, where ask yourself, what do I want in this moment? How can I set myself up to be better than I was yesterday? So leave a comment below and let me know exactly how you're going to start doing your healing work. Even if it's something so simple as in, like, every day I'm just going to look at myself in the mirror and give myself a quick wink. It's all love, you know? Let's figure out what's going to work for you. I'm going to come back and share more with you guys about my story, about what I have to offer, because I've done so much healing that I am ready to help the world and continue with that, basically. So if you want to work one-on-one with me, check the description box below. You will find a link to do so. You can also check down below for a free resource. Also check down below for your free copy of a journal workbook. There are shadow work prompts in there that will help you heal your inner child wounds and rewrite your story. With that being said, thank you for showing up, and for those who stayed to end, I love you so much. Like I said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, love you. Bye.